So we'll kick off in about 5 minutes. I want to give it maximum another 5 minutes and then we get started. Welcome to the Negawatt Revolution.
Someone has to start clapping.
Question. German time is very punctual.
Yeah, German time is normally very punctual.
Oh.
Yes.
This is Malaysian time.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving it a bit more time. I've already adopted, I've Malaysianized already. Like 10 years ago, before I came to Malaysia, I might have started on time. But okay lah. Sometimes we need to be flexible.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ERL trains. They're all German made, so they start on time.
German is a strong technology country. So they all do things very quickly.我这该不是有那个Galaxy 吗？Galaxy， 那边还有一个是那边还有一个什么肥仔龙。一天他减肥咯。我这边10点多上去到你那边会10点多。你们是在热的店那边回去的是吗？一辆车全部到过来。
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. And welcome to the official launch of the Negawatt Revolution. Great that you're all so excited. I'm excited as well, and I'll tell you in a minute why, because this has been a journey, a process of discovery, of trying to understand how can we make a change here in Malaysia and beyond. Now, who here is Malaysian? Wow. I would say 70% of people who are here are from Malaysia. Who is from very far away, let's say Europe? Any Europeans here? Yeah, Netherlands, and obviously me from Germany, right? Kampung in Germany, very small kampung. Anyone here from the US? No? Australia, New Zealand? Yeah, there we go. Africa? No? Have I forgotten anything? China? India? Okay, so most of the Indonesia, right? We have Indonesia here as well. Great, and the UK, Gary. Hello. So, welcome to all of you. I want to set the scene for tonight with actually telling you the story of my journey in Malaysia. But first of all, I would like to say a very, very big thanks to Mind Valley and Project Renaissance, who is our host tonight and who provides this amazing venue to us in kind. So one very big applause. I think that's amazing that we can have this event here. And so far, we are launching the Negawatt revolution without really spending any money on it. Besides registering a website and getting volunteer contributions, and I will acknowledge the team later on tonight. But let me go back and tell you the story of my 10 years in Malaysia. I came here in April 2004. I was asked today on Capital FM, what brought you originally to Malaysia? I've always been a little bit reluctant to let out the truth, but let me be honest with you guys tonight, as I was on the radio today, it had a very simple reason that quite a lot of guys have as a reason why they're here. My ex-girlfriend, who happened to be, at the time when I wanted to come to Southeast Asia, Malaysian. So it was very simple. I decided, let's go to Malaysia. I had lived 10 years in the UK, and I'd actually run a business there on environmental management training and consulting. I used to travel around the world advising companies on how they could make their business more effective, how they could implement environmental management systems. Anyone here heard of ISO 14001?
Yep.
Yeah, quite a lot of you. That's a systematic approach to addressing environmental issues in your business. But I got a bit fed up with it because very often it becomes just a certification system. And people just want to have the badge on the wall rather than doing the right thing for the environment or for their business. So I decided when I come to Malaysia, not necessarily I want to continue with that consultancy work, and I actually decided just to enjoy myself, relax. I signed up for Malaysia, my second home. Then in 2008, I won this Greenest Person on the Planet award, and I decided time to start a green movement. I started a movement called Warriors Malaysia. I got involved in a lot of different initiatives. Remember back the days with Tunku Kaisha and Dennis Peka, an environmental NGO trying to protect the forests in Malaysia. Then I was involved in a lot of green events, business events, volunteer events, green carnivals organized by the government. We organized as Eco Warriors Malaysia loads of tree planting events all over the country. But after 10 years in Malaysia, end of last year, I made my review. What have I been able to contribute to Malaysia after having lived here 10 years? Some people might say, yes, the green man, he's inspired a couple of people to go green. And I had a couple of testimonials from people who told me, yeah, you know, I remember your talk that you gave 5 years ago. I remember you were telling me the stories about your little village, about your kampung. You were showing the pictures when you could go skiing as a young boy. But now, your brother, son and daughter hardly have any snow anymore during winter. That's the reality. When I was a youngster in my kampung, I could guarantee you every winter, 3 months, there was going to be snow. End of December till end of March. My little village is elevated 550 meters above sea level. It gets extremely cold there. And in those days, when I grew up in that little village, I knew everybody there. Whatever house you point to, I could tell you, yes, 3 kids live in there, that's their age, that's their name, a grandmother, a grandfather. It was a very close-knit community. And I was involved in growing the vegetables. I was involved in pulling the plow in the field and planting potatoes that a couple of months later we were harvesting, and those were the potatoes, like the rice here, that we were eating every day during the winter. We were very closely connected with Mother Nature. When I came home from school every day, I was out there playing in the forest with my friends. I experienced Mother Nature. What about the kids today in KL? Are they still connected to Mother Nature? Do they still have the chance to experience the forest? The kampung chicken? Somebody told me the other day, nowadays if kids are asked to draw a chicken, most likely they will draw the packed chicken from the supermarket, rather than the real chicken that will live out there. We live in a world where we are totally disconnected from what's on our table as food, where everything gets manufactured. We have often lost the connection with Mother Nature. And one thing I've observed during the last 10 years of living in Malaysia, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my perception is green daily lifestyle practices is not yet in the DNA of Malaysians. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes.
As I say, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it has to do with the fact that if you don't grow up with a practice of green things on a daily life, like you're recycling as kids already, then it's not part of your priorities. I spoke with a lecturer from UTM. He had his kids grow up in Japan. When he came back to Malaysia, they were asking him, "Dad, where are the recycling bins?" They were used to it. They wanted to do it, but they couldn't find the facilities here in Malaysia. I think when I look at Malaysia, we've got a developing economy. The ambition of Malaysians is economic growth, success, money, big house, big car. That is the message youngsters get. Don't worry, whatever you do, your main target is to get the big house, the big car. I remember I was giving a talk in Penang. I had a couple of guys there. I told those guys, and you know what? You don't even need a car if you're successful. Or does it actually matter? How do you define success? And those guys said, no car. No car. I remember sending me a very nervous message. Hey Matthias, I want to study something eco. I told my parents, but they said, no, cannot. You'll be poor all your life. We pay for your education. Those are, I think, some of the pressures. Other things I've heard over the last 10 years. Green, too expensive. Where does that come from? I think we perceive green as eating organic food and maybe buying a green eco-certified building. And all of these are much more expensive than the conventional stuff. Hence, cannot afford, don't have the money. But we don't look at it from the angle of less is more and I can save a lot of money. Actually, my belief is, if we live holistically green, we can save a lot of money. If we don't feel under pressure from the marketing messages around us that tell us, you've got to have the latest this, the latest that, the latest iPhone. Interesting, our audience, nobody has got the latest iPhone here, right? Oh, you're God! Wow! You're consumed by the modern consumption society. We got you there, Catherine. No, just kidding. But isn't that always around us? You see it in school. Even in Germany, my brother. In Germany, we have this famous shop, our friend from Holland might know that shop, called Aldi. You know Aldi? Yeah. It's incredibly cheap, but it's very good quality at the same time. The two brothers who founded Aldi are the richest Germans always in the ranking. They come behind, behind the famous guys like Microsoft, Bill Gates, and they're in the second league with 15 to 20 billion asset value. But they started this discount chain, and they were so successful because their quality never went down. But now my brother said, if you have kids' clothes or sports shoes, the other kids in school make jokes about you, or you're wearing Adidas, not Adidas. So even in German schools, that system, that pressure is already there. I see it everywhere. We have an engine out there that tries us to, buy all these latest stuff. The other argument I have come across very often in Malaysia is, oh, it's just me. I can't really make a big difference. Gotta wait for the government to make the changes. Yes, we know we have a problem with enforcement. Sometimes there are great laws there. Things like Cameron Highlands. Things like other deforestation issues. We know where is the problem, but it seems to be extremely difficult to prevent the deforestation to happen. Forests are controlled at state levels. It's a very fast and easy way to make a lot of money. I remember 5 years ago some NGOs went into a forest which is a peak reserve next to KLIA. I even saw traces of the claws of the Malayan sun bear. Have you ever seen a Malayan sun bear? I mean, I was amazed that even so close to KL, we have bears in the wild. We know about the panda bears, like my little friend here. You know, the cute little panda bear. This is my eco-friendly shopping bag that I usually carry around, made from plastic bottles. But we here in Malaysia have real bears. That little forest alone, that fortunately the NGOs were able to get preserved, would have easily made a couple of 100 million ringgit like that. Chop the forest, harvest the trees, sell them off to China and India, no questions asked about their tracing, whether they are sustainably planted and harvested or not. It's very fast and easy money. So we have those challenges, but I think we have to go back to ourselves. Ask ourselves the question, what can I do? And at least for my life, my philosophy is, my bottom line is, am I a healing influence on the planet or a burden? Do I have a positive impact on Mother Nature or a negative impact? Because that is the area that we have control over and influence on. Now, I'm writing a book at the moment on green living and working. One of the things that came out of my review, I need to have something to pass on to people. I give a lot of talks, but I've seen a lot of talks end up with everybody being excited, but there is no follow-up action. I've been at so many conferences, so many events, loads of people keen to do something, but then there is no path. So I came up with this idea of the book. But when I was writing the book, I was asking myself, what is the action step after the book? Where I can overcome those problems. Green is too expensive. I can't make a difference. I'm just one individual person. That is how the dream of the Negawatt revolution came about. When I thought about what can we do in practical terms that we can have everybody contribute with, I was thinking about waste. The problem with waste is, it's a big problem, but it's difficult to measure. If you want to track how much waste you're reducing at home, how are you going to measure it? Are you going to use a weighing scale? It's logistically quite tricky. And it's difficult to make money with that. The other thing that I was thinking about was water, because we have a huge problem with water. We've had water rationings, we have a lack of available drinking water in Malaysia. But I came to the conclusion, water is so cheap, there is no financial incentive to focus on water itself. And then I thought about, how about electricity? Electricity is actually the beautiful place to start. Why? Every household at the end of the month or beginning of a new month gets an electricity bill. Your meter is measuring your kilowatt hours of consumption and translates it into ringgit Malaysia. So everybody gets an electricity bill on a monthly basis with what we might be able to call a KPI, a key performance indicator. You have an external party that supplies you with the electricity, providing you with the data. Isn't that beautiful? You don't even need to measure it yourself. And just out of interest here, how many of you are below 100 ringgit electricity bill? Below 100 ringgit. I know, Kaisha, you wouldn't be able to match that one, but that's a couple. Actually, when I talk with people and I ask them about their electricity bill, I more or less know by the scale of their electricity bill how much aircon they use and how little aircon. Because usually the differentiator is the aircon. People who have on the aircon at night, they usually have an electricity bill of a couple of hundred. Little story, when I moved into the place that I live in Mount Kiara, my landlady called me up after 3 months of living in there and asked, "Hey Matthias, something wrong with you? Can I have a chat with you? Are you never at home?" Like the Matsala who used to live there before me, his electricity bill was 300 to 400 ringgit. Mine was 28, 30, 35. So she was so puzzled, she wanted to have a chat with me, you know. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing this? So, I mean, for me, the key is, if you are able to use the fan instead of the aircon, that is definitely going to slash your electricity bill massively. But most people get used to conveniently having the aircon on at night. Actually, the practice is often people cool down the room so much that they need a thick blanket. And they get used to this idea of sleeping only well with a thick blanket. I see a couple of smiles. Some of you might be in that position. But is that how we started off in Malaysia? If you look at the history of the Malay kampung house, it was designed to be cool, it was on stilts, it had natural roofing material that prevented the heat from the sun to come in, and you came home at night and it was cool. So there are actually a lot of things that we can do when it comes to electricity consumption that are behavioral and motivational. And that is part of our campaign. We actually want to motivate and inspire people to track their electricity with the online account that we are launching tonight, where you have to put in the last 3 bills of your electricity bill that TNB provides for you, and then you set a target. You get ideas and recommendations on what you can do to reduce your electricity bill. And I did some research on international tools that were there already. And I came to the conclusion I had 3 good tools. One was from the UK, one was from the US, and one was from St. Kitts and Nevis, a Caribbean island. I think it's quite a hot place like Malaysia. When I looked at the tools, the UK tool and the American tool was talking about this is what you can do to reduce your electricity bill. Make sure that when you are heating up your home, that the heat doesn't escape. Now, if we use those recommendations, they don't work in Malaysia. Because we are a hot country, the only thing we have to deal with is cooling, not heating. So I discarded the UK and the US option. So we've actually chosen the option from this guy in St. Kitts and Nevis. He has a social media approach to motivating people to reduce their electricity bill. His system never took off. He developed it in 2010. He won a General Electric Innovation of the Millennium Award for his social media approach to reducing electricity consumption, but he never had a critical mass of people actually using it. That is what we are trying to achieve in Malaysia. People have asked me, what will be the success of this campaign? One day, in the spirit of sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit, we see a bukit of kilowatt hours that we jointly have saved. Hopefully initially 10,000, then 100,000, then 1 million Malaysian households. Second phase would be for us to get businesses involved, because actually businesses consume even more electricity than households. But this is the starting point. That's the power that we the people have. We can make a difference. And we will not just see a mountain of kilowatt hours, we will see a mountain as well of CO2 equivalent emissions. Little quiz question for you. How much kilogram of carbon dioxide will 10 kilowatt hours of electricity that you consume for Peninsular Malaysia trigger off in its production. Just to give you a bit of background, a lot of you will know that, but I remember a talk I gave with kids, and I asked the kids, hey kids, where does the electricity come from? Oh, it comes from the wall. Oh, really? From the wall? But where does the wall get the electricity come from? And then the kids were thinking, and I think you were there, right, Chomini and Dennis? And one of the kids came up with this amazing thing. It comes from an electricity manufacturing factory. Wasn't that amazing? Because it makes it much more clear. We call it power plant, but the kid called it an electricity manufacturing factory. That is what it is. You put fuel in, coal, gas, or in some cases diesel or oil, but that usually only happens in gensets because it's very expensive. We have renewable energy solutions that are starting to take off, but in Malaysia still on a small scale level. But the conventional power generation in Peninsular Malaysia is gas and coal. We burn that in the power plants to manufacture the electricity in the factory. Now, who here can tell me, if you have 10 kilowatt hours consumption, what is the equivalent carbon dioxide emission that you are responsible for generating, based on government data? I'm sure Lal knows it. He is a veteran of the energy efficiency and power supply industry. I'm really happy that you're here with us tonight, Lal. Thank you.
So I'll keep quiet.
Yeah, because I that's why I'm saying it. You will definitely know it. Anyone else here? Have a guess. Hey, let's make a little contest. I have a nice little gift here. An energy efficiency gift. Actually, we are going to launch the campaign with a focus on zero-cost measures, because I want to get people's belief away from the fact that it's very expensive to go green. There's a lot of things you can do, like if you switch off the aircon and use the fan instead, it's going to save you money. If you take a shower with cold water in the morning, beautifully refreshing. It wakes you up in the morning. But don't misunderstand me, I'm not judging people. I'm not saying everybody that lives green needs to take a shower with cold water. No need. But this is a little LED bulb. I bought it in Wanutama a couple of days ago. It's a 7-watt LED bulb. They give you 1-year warranty. It's about equivalent, I think, to a 60-watt old-style incandescent bulb. So the old-style bulb will consume about 10 times more electricity for roughly the same amount of light. Okay, let me give this out as a gift to the one of you that, yeah, Jean Han, yeah. You know it as well, the answer, right? Yeah. He is disqualified as well, because he's another one of those energy efficiency gurus. You should visit his blog, loads of tips on how to. Thanks as well for joining us tonight. Good to see you here. Okay, who wants to come up with a guess? 10 kilowatt hours of electricity, which will cost you what, 3 ringgit, roughly? With the current Malaysian electricity, if your consumption is below 200 kilowatt, I think it's 28 cents per kilowatt hour. So it will, 10 kilowatt hour will cost you 2 ringgit 80. Anyone an idea how many kilogram or grams of carbon dioxide that will generate? Sorry? 10,000 kilos. That's 1 ton. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. But good. You are bold enough to start off. Our friend from UITM, right? Yes, welcome. Yeah, great. 10,000. 1 ton. Anyone more or anyone less?
100.
100 kilogram. Who's that? Oh, good. Catherine, you're closer already.
50.
Who else wants to guess? Yeah? 50? Okay, that would be roughly a lady's weight, right? That's a lot for, remember, you pay 3 ringgit for 10 kilowatt hours. Actually, it is, let me reveal it, 7.47 kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent, according to, I think, 2012 statistics that were developed by the Green Tech Corporation based on the power plant mix. It's higher in Sabah because they have more coal-fired energy supply. It's lower in, higher in Sarawak, lower in Sabah, because Sabah has a bit more hydro and renewable, I think, than Sarawak and Peninsula. So for each kilowatt hour, that costs us 28 cents, and this is a subsidized electricity price. Remember that, guys. 1 year ago, when the electricity price went up, I was in Philippines, and Light FM. By the way, tomorrow morning you can hear me on the Negawatt Revolution either on Red FM 7:30, that's live, or Light FM short interview somewhere between 7 and 9 on their breakfast show, and then afternoon 4 o'clock I'm on Capital FM, this jam break thing. I did that interview as well. The idea is the next 24 hours is our launch of the Negawatt Revolution. We want as many people as possible to join. That's why we are making noise on Facebook, we're making noise on the radio, and I'm giving 2 different talks tomorrow to about 1,000 different students, one in KL, one in Pahang. So we are spreading our wings a little bit to mobilize the masses as a starting point. But my hope is that very quickly we will ramp this up to 10,000, 100,000 Malaysians, and we will make a little contest even. And I just saw Lina walking in. Hi Lina, how are you? Yeah, good to see you. Lina has kindly, with her company, sponsored an amazing prize, but I'll only reveal that later on. We'll keep that, a little bit at suspense. So, you were all not very close, to be honest, but I would give it to our friends from UITM. Even though you were far off, you were bold enough to be the first one to make a suggestion. Can you catch?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. These guys came tonight because we were together in Utah, Kamtar, 1 week ago, where we had as well an event on the Negawatt Revolution. So they came especially, not from Kamtar, but you're based in Shah Alam, right? Yeah, thank you for coming over. That's great. Actually, one thing we plan is that we give a lot of talks in colleges and universities, not just me, other volunteers as well. That's the spirit of the Negawatt Revolution. I want this to be a non-for-profit, community-based, bottom-up movement, where we empower ourselves to work together to make the change. We have not had any funding. We have interest from a government entity to fund us, but we are not too much chasing it, because the focus should be that we create people participation initially, and that we make sure that this is a project that we all own. Once there is too much commercial interest in it or money flow, maybe it goes the wrong way. That's why I'm very, very cautious that we actually make it a bottom-up, community-based initiative so that everybody is comfortable to be part of it. And if you have some skills that you can contribute, we need people that help us with a website, we need people that help us with social media, we need people that help us with, like filming, like our friends from IACT College, Adib and Joey, give them a big applause. Actually, if you see all the logos that we've got, Adib is the guy that has drawn them all up, and he has done an amazing job. And thank you, Adib. So everything has been in-kind contributions, what you see here. And that is, I think, the power of people taking action. And I think that is the only way how we can get a real bottom-up movement where loads of people will participate. Hopefully it will become a people-based revolution of energy efficiency, where one day, if we have millions of tons of carbon dioxide and millions of kilowatt hours saved. Actually, 1 ton is a unit of 1,000. So only if we save 1,000 kilowatt hours with the conversion factor of 0.745, we then have 747 kilograms, which pushes us close to a ton. I would like us to save millions of tons of carbon dioxide. Then we arrive at a point where we say, hey, that 1 gigawatt power plant, and Jean Han or Lal, if you can help me with the calculation, I would actually love to do a calculation where we calculate how many kilowatt hours do we need to save per year so that we can make a gigawatt power plant obsolete. That would be a beautiful target, I think, that we should have. Because then, and you know, you might think we are going against the government here because they want to set up loads more new power plants. The opposite is actually the case. I have spoken with the Energy Commission, I've spoken with KETA, the Green Tech Ministry, I've spoken with TNB. They are all supporting this campaign. That is what they have verbally communicated. They are on board. It is official 2020 developed nation vision to make the country more efficient. At the moment, Malaysia consumes about 40% more electricity than the neighboring countries. That is extremely wasteful. It costs a lot of money to generate that electricity. It costs a lot of money to set up all those power plants. Where is the money ultimately going to come from? It's going to come from the country, from the people's money, from the taxpayers' money. It doesn't come out of the air. Yes, people love those gigantic projects because it gives a lot of people an opportunity to make extra money. But the most environmentally friendly, the most cost-effective, the most beneficial form of electricity is the what? The negawatt. Very simple. The negawatt. And what is a megawatt? It's the electricity that you do not consume. Not megawatt, megawatt is more, negawatt is less. The power that you save, that is the power of a negawatt. This is not my phrase. Amory Lovins, the famous green activist and business strategist, came up with that phrase, I think, in 1989. And I would love to see us make it happen in Malaysia through our joint power. That is what the Negawatt revolution is all about. And towards the end of the night, we will show you how to set up an account. This is a free account. An account where you can track your energy bill. Where we can track together the kilowatt hours that we save. Where we can invite and motivate our friends to participate. Where we, in the spirit of sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit, can grow hopefully a mountain of results, of kilowatt hours saved and of CO2 emissions saved. Okay lah?
Okay.
Sounds good? Yes. Are you on board? Yes. Great. Let me get the panel up here. We have a panel of 3 people. They are actually all members of the core team. The core team just emerged. I was sharing with a couple of people, this is what we are planning. Alicia, Pretzel, and Phoenix. Phoenix is our youth ambassador. Alicia has been looking after all those amazing contributions that came from the IACT college. And Pretzel has helped with his branding magic and with website and other stuff. And I thought it would be good to get their views why they are part of the Negawatt revolution, and then at the end we will kind of open up the floor for you to ask questions, for you to share suggestions, for you to share as well what you can contribute to this people movement that we're starting tonight. Who wants to start?
Yes.
Yeah, ladies first. Ladies first. Hi, Alicia.
Oldest lady first. Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks so much for coming. My name is Alicia. I am actually with IACT College. We are a creative communication college in PJ, And we've actually had Matthias at our college before to address our students, so we're very excited to support him in his campaign. A little bit about why I'm part of this group. I'll give you a little background. I studied in the US, got married there, lived there for about 8 years, and then moved back to Malaysia only 3.5 years. And the sad thing about coming back after being away for so long is that you see the changes in the infrastructure of our country. And I remember coming back to my condo, and actually I live in Montera, and I couldn't see anything but just concrete, and looking out the window and only seeing concrete. So, being in the States, being exposed to, environmental living and recycling and things like that, where people actually care about the environment, coming back here was just hard, And 2 years ago when I had my second child, I just remember some mornings waking up and I could just smell smoke in my room. So I don't know if you guys remember, well, we've always had haze, and every morning waking up to haze. And my poor little baby had acute asthma at a very young age, so I had to put an inhaler on her. And I just got fed up, I got angry, and thinking, I don't want to live in this kind of state. I don't want my kids to grow up in Malaysia where there's no clean air, there's no parks, no greens. So, I think that's kind of where kicked off my passion for, and asking myself, what can I do? What can I change? Instead of just complaining and pointing fingers and just griping about it on social media. And so thankfully I got in touch with Matthias, attended one of his talks, got really fired up, and invited him to my college to address our students and work on a project with him. And I think that realization that we might not be able to change our home country today, or we might not be able to change our politicians' mindset about climate change and sustainable living. But what we could do is start from our home, and I think that's really what the Negawatt campaign revolution is about, is that all of us can make an impact in our own home by saving 10% of our energy. And we can start training our parents, hey, turn off the lights, or we can probably maybe turn off the aircon when we sleep. My poor husband has been suffering many nights because I refuse to turn on the air condition. So it's things like that where we can make an impact, and I'm just really excited that I can be part of the Negawatt and have students also champion some of the project. That's my story.
Great, thank you so much, Alicia. Yeah, excellent. Some things I didn't even know about, the story about your daughter with the haze, suffering from that. That's quite significant, and I think a lot of parents with young children in Malaysia have had similar experiences, and it is really acutely toxic when we've got the thick haze there. Yeah. Phoenix, hey, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. Okay, hi everyone.
Hi.
How are you
Hi.
guys doing today?
Great.
Doing great? Okay, let me just tell you guys a little fun fact. You know that recycle bag that Matthias showed us earlier? 3 years ago, when I invited him to come for a talk at a state level camp that I organized, he carried that very same bag. That's how long we can reuse, and that's how long we can reuse things. We don't need plastic bags. All right. Who here in the audience can tell me what this is? What is this? What does this logo represent? Who can tell me? Sorry, what was it?
4-leaf clover.
4-leaf clover. Anyone else? Windmill.
Looks like power plant stuff.
Power plant.
The factory chimney producing gas.
We've got some really good guesses here. 15 years ago, the Millennium Agenda had articulated really bold vision and came up with concrete targets to improve the lives of many and save the lives of those threatened by disease and hunger. Thus, 8 Millennium Development Goals were formed. Fast forward 15 years to this very month, to this very day, right here, right now, with you and me. Were those goals met? Well, there has been a lot of important progress across all 8 goals. The world has reduced poverty by half. Political participation by females, by women, have increased and continues to increase. So these are just a few of the targets that have already been met way ahead of the 2015 deadline. But sadly, not MDG 7. MDG 7 is ensuring environmental sustainability. The United Nations have reported that not only has carbon dioxide emissions, CO2 emissions, continued to increase, but it has in fact accelerated from the year 2000. CO2 emissions have increased by 50% from the year 1990, and most of it comes from developing regions. Asia alone is responsible for 13 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions. That's more than half of all the CO2 emissions from all developing regions combined. Like Matthias said earlier, Malaysia has 40% more CO2 emissions compared to our neighboring countries. Wow. This is overwhelming. Take a moment to let this reality sink in. Wow. But what do these overwhelming figures mean? What does it mean to you and me? Most of CO2 emissions are caused by human activities. And this means that we can make a change. You and I. We can start making a change today with small, simple steps that we can incorporate into our daily lives. Simple things like switching off your electricity when you don't use it. Or if it's a hot, humid day, take a cool shower. You don't need a heater on. So let's be the change that we want to see in the world. We can make this change, you and me. Come on guys, let me hear it from you guys. We can do this.
We can do this.
Come on guys, we can do this.
We can do this.
That's the spirit. The UN expects 2015 to come up with sustainable new goals that will expand beyond the year 2015. And this change starts now. This change starts with you and me. Come on guys, let me hear it again.
We can do it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. We can do it, Phoenix. And now, Pretzel.
Save the projector light.
Shall we switch it off? Okay, good point. I already had the aircon switch off by half at the beginning, but we can switch off the projector lights. I don't know whether our friend from Mind Valley is around. I don't actually know exactly where to switch it off.
Remotes.
But
White remotes on.
yeah, I think, yeah.
And there's the one next to it.
Okay, you can work on it while we continue here. Pretzel, why are you involved in the Negawatt revolution all the way from New Zealand? Yeah, now living in Malaysia.
Let me just introduce myself. I am Pritish Mora. My friends call me Pretzel, so everyone here can do that as well. Why am I here? I'll answer that in a short question, in a couple of moments. I want to go back to something Matthias mentioned a little bit earlier, in that as a young kid growing up in New Zealand, we were taught to be green. We were taught actions and habits, and it was part of our daily lives. And I was asked earlier on today, actually by Phoenix, is the green culture in New Zealand very different? Is it different to Malaysia? And I said, yes, it is. Immediately, I didn't have to think. And I said, we were taught at school that littering was bad. You were punished if you threw something. We were taught to recycle and upcycle our materials. when we did courses at school where we made things out of wood and metal, we didn't go to the hardware store and buy it brand new. We were using scraps to upcycle and remake products that we had designed ourselves. So from a very early age, we were taught these habits about how to look after and treasure the resources. And so it is different. We were taught different. And I often, some people ask, you got to think about this. It's a short statement that is often taught to us as kids as we were growing up. Would you go to your family home, or your uncles or your aunties or your cousins' place? Would you walk into their house with a bag of rubbish and throw it on the floor and then walk out? And everyone would answer no. So my question, here we go. So my question would actually be to people when I see them litter, why is it okay to do it in public? And why is it okay to do it in other countries? And often that's sometimes enough to trigger people to change that habit. I want to congratulate every single person that's actually here today, because by being here and listening and taking action, you're starting that change process in this country. You can go home, and if you can influence one other person, that will trigger another chain reaction. It's a ripple effect. So we're making one big splash, and it's going to ripple out. So Matthias, I actually want to thank you for being the big rock that's made that drop. Why am I here? I met you in January. I had the skills and abilities in branding, and we had a quick meeting. You talked about this tool, and we looked at branding it and making it Malaysian specific. And you had a dream, you have a mission, you've been here for 10 years trying to get traction. And we've accelerated that process by branding and applying some of those strategies. And it's amazing to see what's happened in the short amount of time since January through to today. Why? I'm passionate about it. I know I can help inspire and support a man like this with my branding skills to make a difference. And I know each one of you out there has a message or a business and you want to make a difference. So my question to you is, what is your message? Is it clear? And are you positioning or branding yourself in the way that it actually works and it gets out to the right people? So coming back to why I do it, it's in here. It was ingrained from a small age. I now have the skills and the abilities to support someone like you to make a massive difference. One person can make a difference. The saying that you've got behind the Negawatt revolution, Sikit Sikit Lama Lama Jali Bukit, is very, very powerful. And I've only been here 9 months. And I've been here 9 months. I've met him in January, and look at what we can do together. That's all I have to say. Get on board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pretzel, Alicia, and Phoenix, for the great support. This is not a one-man show. This maybe just started with a dream after 10 years Malaysia and some frustration and looking for how can we make it happen. And now, we've got already a little Facebook group with about 25 contributors. It's a secret Facebook group where those people are in that are helping to make this happen. But hopefully that can grow, and hopefully some of you can step up and chip in with your skills, with your ideas, with your resources to make this happen. We're not looking for money contributions. We're looking for your heart, your dedication, your spirit, and your commitment. That's what we are looking for. Because that is how we will grow a mountain with a solid foundation, on a solid rock. So that is really what the Negawatt revolution is about. We will show you later the actual tool, the physical online tool, which will help us to connect all the dots. But now I think is a good time for you to ask any questions, share some opinions, ask our panel, ask myself, what is this thing all about, or share your suggestions. So I will be the roving mic man. Who wants to ask a question or make a comment? Don't be too shy. Yeah, we've got Jackie. Thanks so much. The microphone still works here.
Right, good evening ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually from Singapore. I met Matthias a few days ago, and we seem to have a common understanding in the way we want to preserve the earth. I think I was giving a talk last night to a group of entrepreneurs, and I tell them one of the first things we can help to increase our productivity and save the earth is by, any Astro people here? Okay, cut off the Astro. Don't watch Astro. First of all, it's wasting of time. Second, you're paying money to people to make them rich, and third, you're wasting electricity. Alright? That's my personal way. I've been here 9 years. Every house that I live in, I do not have Astro. I've lived my life without Astro for 9 years, and I'm still surviving. Okay, except for okay. But I think it is very important as a business owner in all the companies that I work with, I actually set up a recycling center. I think this is something that we can even do at home. A small recycling center teaching children how to recycle, to reusable things. And in the office, if every one of us just don't throw away paper and recycle the paper, we can save a lot of money in electricity. These are things I think individually in a small company we can actually do to save the earth. We don't need to do big things. Alright, so that's what I think we can do. Thank you.
Alrighty, Jackie, thanks a lot. Yeah, I was just telling him, tomorrow lunchtime I'm going to an Astro studio. I don't even remember the name of the exact show because I've got too many things happening at the moment. It will be streamed tomorrow evening, I think at 10 o'clock. So don't switch off your Astro until the day after, okay? No, but there's a very good point. I remember I used to be a lot on with Dennis and Chamonix on the Hello on 2 show on RTM. It was was Hello on 2, right? And it was every Monday morning a Green Man slot. And my friend Zamil, he's one of the presenters, the host there. He was the second runner-up of Malaysian Idol in the days when Jacqueline Victor won. But I think not many people remember him. They all remember Jacqueline Victor. But Zamil was asking me, hey Matthias, can you tell me why is my electricity bill so high? It's about 350, 400 ringgit, he lives with his mom, they don't use the aircon much, and we were digging, trying to find it, and we came actually up with the conclusion the Astro was on all day long because the mom was listening to the radio over the Astro satellite dish. And I've checked it, I'll show you a tool here, a very nice little tool that you can buy as well here, but this one actually was bought, I mentioned it early on, Aldi in Germany, because much cheaper than buying it here. This is a basic, simple tool that helps you to measure the watt consumption of your things that you plug into the wall, into your electric plug. And one funny story with that as well, I was a speaker at an event in Penang, and there was a very big computer company based in Penang. They were the sponsor of the event. The CFO was there. I said to him, hey, boss, are your computers eco-efficient? He said, oh, sure. Let me do the test. I plugged the monitoring system in. I had a small Toshiba. My small Toshiba SAT notebook, very low electricity consumption, was about 15 watts. His notebook was about 60 watts. I told him, yours is consuming 3 times more electricity. Oh, he got very nervous. He invited me for a green talk to all of his employees. So, but this is an electricity monitoring tool. We I've used it, an Astro a satellite dish, and as well a TV that's on, even if you only listen to a radio, consumes about 200 to 300 watts. A small fan in your bedroom that I have running consumes 19 watts. When it doesn't turn, when it turns, the consumption goes up to 35 watts. 1 horsepower aircon? Do you have any idea? Okay, Lal, Jean Han, and all those energy efficiency gurus know it. 1 horsepower aircon, 750 watt, right, roughly.
Yeah.
I think just one correction to protest.
Yeah.
A lot of people have the wrong perception that 1 horsepower aircon is the 1 horsepower electricity, which is 746 watts. But a 1 horsepower air conditioner actually consumes anything between 840 to 1050 kilowatt hours. Is a 1050 watts power, because the 1 horsepower that they read is the air conditioned horsepower, not the electrical horsepower.
Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't even aware of that. Thanks a lot, Lal. That means it's even more than what I communicated. Thanks for that clarification. So the aircon is really the power sucker number 1, but the satellite dish can be it. It can be, you know, your dryer. Those who wash their clothes and use the electric dryer, that consumes a lot of electricity. You know, we've got things like the water heater. Yes, Edwin?
Just want to ask the crowd any suggestion. How to sleep without aircon and save money? How to sleep? Anybody can give suggestion? How to sleep?
So don't wear your clothes, you know.
I want a practical suggestion which you have done it and then you feel very comfortable. That is good.
Very simple.
Okay, we have several contributors.
One simple solution, as Matthias said, don't have a heavy blanket. If you need to sleep with something on top, just have a light sheet. Have the fan on, and it's easy, just sleep topless without a singlet.
Yeah, I was gonna say my husband, you know, like I say, he suffers every night. But actually it's not that bad. He just doesn't wear a shirt. Fan on him and fan going up, so he's happy.
Again, that really depends on where you are staying. If you're staying in the urban city center, you get hot air blowing in, that's another story. But I measure the temperature around me when I sleep once a while. If your ambient temperature around you is 26 degrees, 26 or 28 degrees, if you sleep topless, without fan switching on, even that is manageable. So yeah, I mean, I don't see the point of blankets unless there's really some annoying mosquitoes which you can carry off them before that. But I mean, ultimately the point, I think the most fundamental thing about energy conservation is to very much ask about whether you need that thing. A lot of things. Don't talk about even having a fan. For example, in my study room, instead of when you do your studies on a study table, do you need the ceiling lights to switch on? No, you just need a task light to switch on. Do you need the entire ceiling fan to switch on? No, you just need a task fan to switch on. So things like this, question whether you need the entire room to be switched on, lights, when you can just lead out a localized area, all these things. So just ask whether you need it. Why do you need a 200 liters fridge? This is not about asking energy efficiency, how efficient is your fridge, but do you even need that size of fridge? So things like this, do you even need a fridge? Or do you even need a car? Can I go on? One more sentence? Yeah. Okay. I think just to add another point is that a lot of us, two more sentences. I mean, a lot of us, when we talk about, when I spoke to a few crowds, I mean, 5 years ago, when I did my internship in Shanghai, I was educating children there about green power, and something went wrong. We are talking about green power, it's like the catching renewable energy and all. And then, okay, before renewable energy, then we will be talking about energy efficiency. But very few of us talk about energy conservation, or before that, very few of us really understood how much we use. So I think that's the most fundamental we are tackling here, to really understand how much we are using. Now, last sentence. My advice is again, as much as the 10%, not to say really much to emphasize on the quantity, but to emphasize on the crowd movement, bottom-up movement. But as much as you focus energy at home, again, this is 10% energy reduction. Don't forget that your car, your transportation, essentially range from half to 2/3 of your total energy, household energy consumption or carbon footprint. So if you can just take away your grocery shopping that is 5 km, just cycle 5 km, you actually save much more than your entire house might save. So think about this.
All right, great suggestion, Jinan. I think what is very important for us is to have a balance and to as well invite the masses to participate. Now, Jinhan, you and me, I think people get scared when they hear what we do. Because we both don't have a car, and there is a danger that people get the perception, oh, I have to be a radical tree-hugging greenie, can't do that, too inconvenient, too unrealistic, I have a family, I live far away from public transport, cannot. And I want to avoid that perception. That's why the Negawatt revolution should all be about the small little steps that you can take in that place where you are with that electricity bill that you have. If your electricity bill is 2,000 ringgit, never mind. Start conserving, start reducing. That will contribute to our bucket that we are powering up through our contribution. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong. The Jinhan made a very, very important point. It starts off first with understanding what is our electricity consumption, where does it come from, and then secondly, the next step is the conservation. And Pretzel, you had just yesterday an interesting tool installed. Yeah, which is, maybe you can share a little bit about that, which I think will come in the second stage. But it's good for you guys to know. It gives you a better understanding where your electricity bill actually comes from. And it goes beyond this little tool that I have there. Yeah.
So, with the help of Dinesh,
sitting over there, he was the guy that was trying to let you know 29th floor. He is the guy who's got that nifty tool.
Do you want to quickly allow him to explain his company?
I don't think we have enough time for that. And right. I don't, we are not about pushing certain technological solutions, but it's good to know that a local Malaysian company has come up with such a tool, and there are others out there. There'll be other tools. We will have an open door policy. If we get to know things that can help the Negawatt revolution, bring them on, share them, let people know about it. Yeah.
So yesterday we had a tool installed into our apartment, and it's like a recording box in an aeroplane, if you like. It monitors the energy consumption of our apartment, and it's a trial as part of this project. So I walk around and you can see it goes live to my mobile. So right now there is actually an aircon on, but you can actually see that the live consumption, you can see a graph, so we can actually see real time our consumption, and it allows us to look at what appliances and what parts of our house and what appliances are using a certain amount, so we can flick off certain fans, certain aircons, certain water heaters, and at different times we'll know what's consuming what and allow us to be a lot more efficient in the way we use our energy.
So I think that's a great example of what Jinhan mentioned. Understand, and then conserve, and then invest in energy efficiency, like buying the light bulbs or getting yourself a more energy efficient fridge. But the things you don't need, they are the best ones. They are the most cost effective ones, and that's a philosophy of the Negawatt revolution. If you Google Negawatt, out there in the literature, it's classified as the most eco-friendly and the most cost-effective way of powering our planet. If we save electricity, we massively reduce CO2 emissions, we save a lot of money. It's something that nobody loses with. And that is what I wanted to have as well. Very often we start things and there is somebody who's going to be a loser. And when I said this, when we had a meeting with Keta, the Green Tech Ministry, there was one lady saying, oh, maybe TNB will be a loser. But I spoke with the TNB guys. They told me it's our corporate policy. 60% of our customer calls are, why is my bill so high? If we can help customers reduce our bill, it's good for our image. It's good for our, reducing those costs. And, certain electricity, this goes a bit more into technical things that Lal could, give us a 3-day lecture on, is very expensive, peak electricity. Because you've got standby power plants that only kick in when there is a spike in demand, which could be lunchtime. If you can actually balance and shave that off, and as well work with people, maybe in the future we will have smart grids, where we will have, batteries in our homes that can supply electricity to peak demand. So there's a lot of stuff in the future that we're not focusing on now. Now we want to focus on where you are in your home with your electricity bill. What can you do to start off with 10% and then push it further up and push your electricity consumption further down? Save energy, save CO2 emissions, save money, save the planet. Or as I would like to say, save the human race, because somehow the planet will survive. I'm a little bit more worried about the 7 billion humans on the planet and your grandchildren to come. What will their future be? And I think that is a great motivator, going back to Alicia, Phoenix as a representative of the future generation, Pretzel as a branding guy who is really touched to make a contribution here in Malaysia and help us get it off the ground. A big applause for our three panelists.
I just want to say one thing, and it was something that one of my teachers taught me very strongly as part of the message of being green. And it's not my planet, it's not your planet, it's not even our planet. We've actually borrowed this from our generations, our children's children, and our children's children. So we need to do what we can. We want to give our children the best, so why not start with the planet and the environment that we provide them with. So that's a very powerful message I was given, and I want to share it with you.
Great, thank you, Pretzel. Anyone else that would like to make a contribution, suggestion, ask a question? We'll just do a quick final round. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Anyone else? Okay, yeah, 4. I think that's a good target. 4 people. Yeah, Edwin. Just on your aircon. On Civic. Later on, I'll give you some more tips.
I just wonder whether it's true that outside there are many people selling the electric car, something like that. They say it will definitely save your money. Then is that technically true or not true? Anybody can tell me the truth?
Yeah, Lal is the best person to answer that. You can pass on the mic to him. Ladies first.
It's nothing related to aircon or anything else. I think this is really good, but knowledge is power. I got the campaign of 10,000 books, 10,000 students. As you can see, everyone wants to have information. Getting the right information is vital. Here in this room, we keep asking, what's the right facts? What do you want to know? So I like the fact that even a campaign to students who are committed to this. It is not our show, it's the students. So perhaps we should go back to why we started this, that we want to bring it forward to the students, to the young generations. So how would you now carry on with the 10,000 books and 10,000 students? Because I would love to donate books to you guys.
Okay.
And I would like to know, how could my student contribute to your cause? Because it's not about us. We are obviously in this room wanting to make a change. You're right, bring it back. Because everyone here already know what they want to do. We don't need, I'm sorry, we need you guys. Okay? Don't get me wrong. But we need for you to pay it forward. What I want to know is, you mentioned 4 important things. The Greener's book, which is a guide book, manual, which I would love to know how you're going to give it to us. And then the 10,000 books, 10,000 students as well. How you're going to launch it, I would like to participate in it. And the WhatsApp, which is really good alliteration, because WhatsApp as in WhatsApp, is cool. Whoever came with it, branding, we are there. Cool. And this I Love Negawatt makes a good t-shirt. Very good too. That's a good campaign as well. We can launch that. It's a community. We are a community. We are. Everyone here, nobody disagrees, as you notice. Everyone wants to support everyone. So the problem doesn't lie in this room. It begins outside. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to bring it back. So let's all bring it back with a straight idea of what we want to do when we live. I think whether our question is answered today is not it, because all of you obviously will be convinced. You already made the first step of coming to 29th floor and maybe got lost in different areas of Bangsa. This is not Telangu, right? We need a shot. Oh, that's not go green, right? You can't green. Okay, cool. But anyway, so how is this campaign? I didn't hear any mention of campaigns. Are we doing some activities? Or maybe is it during the Old Town Cafe thing? I can do coffee. Is it okay? I recycled my coffee ground, so it's cool. I save the world in many ways too. I bring my recycling cup as well, and bags and stuff. So again, my 10,000 books. I would like to launch a campaign at my college. I'm from German Malaysian Institute. We have an open day this weekend. You are all invited. It's free, and you can take the KTM again cheaper. Okay, sorry, I'm taking your time. As you know, don't give a microphone to me too.
Don't worry. I'll answer that in a minute.
Yeah, and my tears came to our college, and my students are impressed by you not only because you're German and we're German Malaysian Institute. Like,
yes.
yay.
It works. It's a marriage made in
everyone
heaven.
remember, as you can see on my Facebook, we had tag you everyone. Nisa, do you know the green man? Okay, but do you know what he does? I don't know what he's a green man. So eventually, your popularity, maybe if you're like cool, I was telling them, he goes green. Look at him, he's bald. So he doesn't need haircut.
Yes.
So you save a lot of things too. Sorry, I'm not bashing him because
I'll be back at the Malaysian German Institute.
But we plan to bring you anyway.
Yes.
To our club event. We are from Green anymore.
Yes.
So how do you start the campaign on the?
Yeah, I'll respond to that in a minute after we've taken all the comments and the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Just to answer your question about those gadgets, all these gadgets are a little bit of scam, but there's a certain amount of truth in that. Because if your power supply is very unstable, then they help by stabilizing the voltage, therefore you do save some amount of energy. But TNB, and not because I'm ex-TNB, TNB has very good power supply in Peninsular Malaysia, and those gadgets are not very effective. The Energy Commission did a test through SAIL on those gadgets, and after they publicized their test results, all these gadgets disappeared from the malls. But some of them are now coming back again because the average consumer is pure layman who doesn't understand because they're giving some rubbish information. And the rubbish information is when you put in this gadget, it reduces the current, so they say there's a saving. But they forget that the power factor is involved, and reducing current by 70% may mean only 2% saving in energy. And this is the kind of thing that the Energy Commission did mention. Now, what Jin Han mentioned is something which all of us should do. I believe most of those here are the converted. Preaching to the converted is sort of waste of effort sometimes. But the issue is we must differentiate between what we need and what we want. A lot of people want a lot of things. Big car, big house. You can have just as comfortable to drive in a small, comfortable car and live comfortably in a small house. Whether you have aircon or not, it depends on what your physiology is. I don't say you do without aircon. I know Matthias, Jihan, and many other friends of mine are very passionate about that. But I would say, instead of putting your aircon at say 23 or 24, put it at 26, 27, have your fan on, and that has a much greater cooling effect. I think you would have heard in the cold climates, people talk of wind chill. Wind chill means you can have a temperature of 10 degrees, but 10 degrees centigrade, and with the wind it's equivalent to 0 degrees. Therefore, you can get a similar effect in cooling. Now, one thing you mentioned about keeping the heat in cold climates, we want to keep the heat out of cold climates. So we need the houses to be well insulated. And here I must declare, I'm an advisor to the Malaysian Insulation Manufacturers Group, so it may seem vested interest, but this is something which is well known, and the McKinsey report shows that insulation is one of the most cost-effective saving measures for energy. But one other thing that you must always say, the cheapest and most ecologically attractive kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour that we do not use. Now, in this respect, I have been at the loggerheads, even with TNB and the Ministry of Energy, because sometimes I say decisions are made for capitalist perspectives, IPPs and so on, and I've in fact given a talk in the Institution of Engineers where the proposal to have a nuclear power plant of 2,000 megawatts will cost over 21 billion. That's presently estimate. Usually they increase by 50 to 100%. But you can get the same amount of demand reduction through energy efficiency measures for less than 2 billion ringgit. So why spend 20 billion when you can get the same effect for about 10% of that? And the effect you get, the benefits you get are in perpetuity. Whereas for the power station, it's going to be maintained for its life, whatever its life is. From the energy efficiency perspective, I subscribe to something Dr. Balcom mentioned from NREL when he came here. This was about 12, 14 years ago on energy efficiency. Energy efficiency should not deprive consumers of the conducive living environment or working environment. So I don't say don't have aircon, have aircon but use it more efficiently. And an aircon temperature difference of 1 degree centigrade equals roughly 10% in the energy use. Which means if you put it 1 degree colder, it takes 10% extra energy. You put it 1 degree higher, it takes 10% less energy. And the aspect here is higher temperature with wind circulating has the same effect as a lower temperature. We do not want, or I'm not an anti-nuclear guy, but I was invited to be on the panel on this Malaysia anti-nuclear, and we had a lot of fun on that. Thank you.
So I think my final question would be, so what's the next step? In terms of how do we contribute to the revolution? I understand that all of us have to play our part in conserving energy, but how do we contribute to the Negawatt revolution? That's the question.
Good point. Yeah, that's actually how I wanted to finish this day off, with a practical action step. Who here has their handphone connected with the data package? Or you can try and log on to the Wi-Fi here. It's Mind Valley Guests, and then you click on, you log in, guest, and then was it I Love Mind Valley?
Yes. Yeah, one word.
I Love Mind Valley. Do that now, and then go on to the website negawattrevolution.org, because this day would be a waste of time if there is no follow-on action. And the first step is for all of you to create your account. The actual web host, the system is called WeElectricity. And this is the only country-specific WeElectricity in the world. The guy who originally invented it has made a specific adaptation just for us here in Malaysia. Because I told him we want Malaysia only. Originally when I went on the website, it's too confusing, too many countries. And we will accumulate our savings in Malaysia. We will give Malaysia specific suggestions. So the first thing is, who is on the website? Negawattrevolution.org. Actually, we need a bit of additional support on the IT side, but what we have done so far is, up there you see a login, but ignore that, go down to the bottom, and there you will have a icon saying, create your Negawatt account. Can you see that? That's the place where you should go. That will be your Negawatt account. You get your username, your password, and then next it will ask you to collect your bills from the last 3 months and put in your actual kilowatt hour data. Then it will create a trend for you. And then you can start playing around with it. You can actually set the target, 10% saving, 20% saving. This is what Misa called the WhatsApp. This is going to be our Safrina, yeah. I always get the names mixed up, sorry about that. This is the communication platform, the social media platform, the platform where we are all going to have the home of the Negawatt revolution. This is the core. I want all of you to set up an account, put in your data, and start keep tracking your electricity bill trend. And set the target to reduce your bill through conservation. And invite your friends. This is the starting point of the revolution. Without such an account, we can't track what we are achieving together. And the account will inspire and recommend you. You can link your friends. We will make a competition who gets the highest number of friends signed up to it. You're all okay to find it on your handphone? Are you logging in? Anyone already got to the second page where it says, welcome?
We need to register first, right?
Yeah.
But there's no registering page for us. It's just login page.
Just go to the bottom of the negawattrevolution.org and log in there. Some of you have been able to do it. Looks very straightforward.
Anyone need help with it?
And the good news is, the competition I want to make, and I think this is mainly for the students who will be very gung-ho to get a big prize. Lina, are you two people from Club Med or? Yeah. Lina represents Club Med and they have sponsored Club Med weekend for the winner of this competition. The winner of the competition of inviting the biggest number of friends, and I think I want to use the time scale between now and Earth Day, which is early June, will get a weekend in Club Med. How does that sound? That's the dashboard that comes up, and I think we have 27 people in Malaysia registered so far. So I want this to go up very quickly to 100, 1,000, 10,000 and more. Then we have traction. Then we have the power of the masses. So if you take anything home tonight as the priority, create an account, become part of it, and invite your friends to create an account. That is the most important action, because that has been missing from my talks in the past. I've had lots of people fired up to go green, but then what's next? There was no path. I want this to be the path, and we need the branding to be right for this. This is the simple step. Start very simple. As I said early on, people get scared when we share them too many suggestions of how to go green. They see, Gene Han and the Green Man, they're so far away from their lifestyle, they give up immediately. So don't scare anyone. Start with those small steps, sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit. And our Negawatt revolution is open. The doors are open. The Negawatt revolution is launched. Sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit. And that exact amount of resources goes back to the campaign as well. So we haven't organized all the details yet, but that is the plan. And who here is from a college and from a university? Yeah, okay. You guys are my prime target initially to roll the campaign out, because I think students have the enthusiasm to share it on social media, to get their friends involved. And a lot of students still live with their parents. So the bill at their real home might still be very high. So it's as well going to be an educational program. Students, kids, youngsters inspiring their parents. I know it ain't going to be easy, but if we're really committed, we can do it. That's where the 10,000 books come in. We talk about that later, but I want all the students and colleges to get in touch with us so we can explain the campaign and map it out. But for every individual here, the simple step is create your electricity account, put in your last 3 months of electricity bills if you've thrown them away already, use the next 3 months that are coming, and invite at least one friend. And talk with the people that live in the same house like you. If you have kids at home, get the kids fired up. Give them the incentive. 50% of the savings goes back to your pocket money. Be creative. Use whatever idea you can come up with to help us create the buzz. The viral component of this. Only if we make this exciting, fun. It's not just about facts, it's not about technology, it's about motivation. We need to touch people with their hearts. We need to inspire people. So you are our first brigade of inspirers out there, and there is no obligation, but please take the revolutionary baton by your hand, create your own account, and share it with the loved ones that you live together with, and make it a movement and pass it on to others. Sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit. Thank you very much. I just want to do one more thing, to take a selfie with all of us together. And we're not going to do a launching, throw loads of paper in the air, have some things explode, have some glittery lights going. We don't need to use that extra electricity consumption or generate that waste. Let's take a selfie and use the selfie as a way to share with our friends there is something happening here and we are all excited to be part of it. I have this selfie stick, but to be honest, I'm not good at using it. Can anyone?
Energy efficiency and energy conservation. These are steps that cost almost nothing. It's free. It's about your mindset. Remember, each and every one of us can be advocates of change. So bring this back home to your communities. Bring this back home to your families. Each and every one of us can be ambassadors of change.
Guys, I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much, Phoenix, our youth ambassador. Okay, guys, let's all come together here. I'm just trying to figure out how to do settings here.